Shout out to Kevin and the XD development team at Sword of Convallaria for earlier access to the demo. Hey everyone, J7Jace here, bringing you a brief video on my first impressions of a new strategy RPG game inspired by the likes of Final Fantasy Tactics and Tactics Ogre, called Sword of Convallaria. I wanted to get this video out a bit earlier, but due to some real life things coming up and misreading the date of when I could upload my review video, it's a few days late, but here it is. I'm going to briefly cover a variety of things from graphics, art, music, gameplay, and my other random thoughts on the game as a whole. For starters, on the graphics, I really love the HD 2.5 pixel art and anime-like cutscenes for this game. I'm usually not too big on game graphics myself, and even though it may not have the look the typical gamer wants, I find the aesthetic of it very pleasing, calming, and it definitely gives me the Tactics Ogre and Octopath Traveler vibes. The anime cutscenes are very nice as well. My only issue with this one is I wish there were more of these. For voice acting, unfortunately, no English dub, but we have Mandarin and Japanese dubs, which sound really spot on, and I feel they really bring the characters to life. I couldn't find the name of the Chinese voice actors, but big thumbs up as I chose to stick with the Mandarin dub myself. Now, this wouldn't be a J7Jace video if I didn't talk about the looks of the art and characters, so it's that time and part. Honestly, I'm very impressed with the character art so far of all the named characters and even the generic ones for this game. I think their getup from armor, clothes, weapons are all amazing, and they could easily be in fashion shows, with some of these characters resembling and being inspired by some very prominent characters in games we have played. No complaints here, besides a few toes sticking out on some of these characters. For music, the team actually got the legendary Hitoshi Sakimoto on board. He's the guy who did the soundtrack for FFT and Tactics Ogre. I do like the music in the game as it does give me the FFT vibe, however, I wish there was a bit more variety in the battle music. But I assume hiring and just using him to be part of the game was a huge chunk of money for the team, so the fact that they just brought him in for this just shows how much they love and have for this passion project. Now it's time to talk about the gameplay. This part of the video can easily be much longer, but I'll try to keep it shorter. And to answer some questions that will definitely be asked, yes, it is a gacha game. However, you won't be needing it for the single player story at all, so you can enjoy it and still have fun with it. And yes, it will be free to play on launch, and the demo is also free to play, so I recommend trying it out if it intrigues you. The only time the gacha mechanics may be troublesome is in multiplayer if you choose to pursue that route. But for the single player story, your choices in dialogue will really matter, just like in Tactics Ogre. This can change the outcome of the ending. The multiple playthroughs or playing it in New Game Plus is ideal. I do like this feature a lot, so we don't have to restart our progress. Moving on, characters you have control over have different battle roles, some specializing in magic, physical attack, ranged physical attacks, and some in healing. There isn't as much class mixing like in Final Fantasy Tactics, so a balanced team is recommended over a one-man army. In terms of battlefield objectives and environment, I really do like the variety. Defeating all enemies, moving to an objective point, killing a particular enemy or boss, and even picking up certain items or defeating X amount of enemies. It really spices up the flavor of gameplay quite a bit. If you're somewhat familiar with strategy games or RPGs, what I mentioned is pretty standard and typical. A feature that is a bit different than FFT is that you can walk around to explore parts of your town, and it's a real immersive feeling, and there are many things that you can do from here, such as training units, learning abilities, forging new items, and having units rest. With training units, you can do several things, from them gaining XP to level up or learning new skills and passive abilities. Just note that these things will take time, and when a unit is training, it can't be deployed in battle, so be very careful. At a variety of places, you can also learn new abilities for your characters. They will require different resources, and some might be better than others, but I definitely go with something you like or that suits your playstyle. One feature that I'm sort of on the fence about is having units rest. Over time and when deploying them, their stamina can get low, limiting their combat capabilities, and this will require them to rest and sit out of combat. Or you could always skip a few weeks, but this can be troublesome when you are timed and need enough reputation for a faction. I just miss deploying units right away, but it's a really cool mechanic and it makes it more realistic. There is a lot to do and work on, from making sure your units are training, resting, getting new abilities, not to mention you having to forge and craft a few things if you really want to exceed. Overall, I'm a fan of the actual battling, variety of objectives, and choices in dialogue really mattering. I just feel managing units being deployed, training, them resting, and waiting can be a lot to manage, and it can be a bit overwhelming, but just for a demo, I'm highly impressed with it, as this is the longest free demo of a game I've ever played. Overall, with what I've experienced so far from the aesthetics, PR team, music, and gameplay, I gotta give the demo a solid 8. It offers so much to do in-game and it really immerses you and feels like you are role-playing. It is a great game to get your mind off of work and stress, and another cool feature is that you can easily exit out, load it back up, and it will pick off where you left off, which is great. My only real complaints are I just thought the overall managing of crafting, training, and the town to be a bit much, but if you love multitasking and micromanaging a lot of things, it's for you. Thank you once again to Kevin, XD, and the rest of the Sword of Convallaria team for just being so open, interacting with your fans, and considering all of the feedback from the rest of the community. I also have to thank the viewers for your support in this wonderful opportunity. Let's just hope Square Enix does something for me like this in the future. Take care, and I'll see you all next time.